Let's get started.
Okay. Thank you everybody for being here. This is the Cryptocurrency and Money Magnetism Collective. And um, I'm really excited to be a part of it and to have all of you participate. And we're here to just share information on cryptocurrency so that we all can, and not just cryptocurrency, on money magnetism practices.
Yep.
It's not just about the investing and the technical aspect of it, it's also about the mindset and the empowering mindsets and to practice those, because sometimes we're not always present to those. So that's what we're all about. And my name is Bobby Vaughn, if I didn't say already, and I would like to introduce Beth Ann, who is my co-creator of this collective.
Hi guys, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Beth Ann. I'm wondering how many people have not been here before tonight? So we have one new person. Yay, we're
I
growing.
think we have two.
Oh, did I miss someone?
Well, I thought there was two. Oh yeah, Laura Magada.
Yeah, I'm just driving, so I can't raise my hand.
Okay, great. Good.
Yes,
So we have two new people. That's awesome.
Actually, my first time too. So.
Oh,
That's
Emma?
right.
Yay, our speaker. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So that means that there have been people, so you've been part of our collective before, and we were just wondering if, as a result of being in this collective, if you've had any breakthroughs in crypto or in money magnetism, just maybe like a 1 sentence or 2 sentence share that maybe you're getting, if anybody's had anything. Anybody?
I'll go.
Yay.
So at the start of my investing journey in crypto, I really had it that like I was just like really making it significant. And last Thursday, I always had this intuition, like I just have a feeling that the market's going to drop right now. Like I watch the charts and I do my own analysis and I do my own research, and I'm like, it seemed like every other week I like had this intuition, like if I was really playing this like a game and I wasn't being so significant, I would sell. I'd take some profit right now and I'd like reinvest. And I just never did that. And then last Thursday, I was like, you know what? I'm way up right now. I sold off 25% in advance of basically the big drop that we saw Saturday night. And I was out to dinner and I saw this huge drop, and it was just like, yes, it felt great to be able to reinvest at the bottom of that. And also it just was like, there was an extra like boost in that, like, man, you know what? I followed my gut and like, I wasn't like attacked. Like obviously I sold it Thursday and it kept going up a little bit Friday. And whereas where in the past I'd like have the FOMO, like, oh, I got to get back in. Let me get back in because it's going up. Oh God, right? And just like to be able to have the patience and like be proactive and like choosing how I'm going to be instead of being like at the effect of the charts, and like listening to the intuition and having it pay off was like double. It felt double amazing. So yeah, that was a big breakthrough, and I'm complete.
And so, Logan, what I hear is that because you're part of a collective and a bunch of people that we're talking about this conversation, you've got a lot more confidence to kind of trust yourself and to navigate the market that's so wild, like the wild, wild west, and take action. And then obviously you can share your wins with us, and it
Yes,
brings power.
absolutely. Yes, all of the above. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad you're here. Okay. Anybody else have any breakthroughs?
Alyssa.
Yeah, so not necessarily with crypto. I still am gonna talk to Michael Ramon because I'm so new with it. So I will invest, a little to start, but it was really just around the mindset of investing and money. And like looking at real estate again, really, it's funny. I thought I had like what I ended up having in my bank account for capital was twice what I thought. So it was just like sitting there, and it really had me like bringing a lightness to like investing that wasn't there before. Like my tendency is to just like hold on to it and get nervous if like, especially with houses, if the home prices are too high or whatever. But I think just being in the conversation has really opened me up to, like playing the game and being like, well, if it's just gonna sit there, I might as well do something with it. So
Great. So because you're in the conversation, you're just having more freedom to actually allow yourself to have prosperity and take yourself to the next level financially and have some freedom.
Mhm.
So cool. And you're giving us that permission too. When you share that with all of us, you're also sparking other neurons and stuff for everybody else. So thank you for your contribution.
Sure.
Well, that's awesome. And we have a speaker tonight. Bobby, would you like to introduce our speaker this evening?
I sure would. Our speaker tonight is the amazing Owen Fong, who is a friend of mine, and we were on team together. Most of you might know him. Owen is an amazing chef, which is, I think that cooking also plays into money magnetism, because cooking is a joy for me, and it relaxes me, and it raises my vibration. And if you're cooking, you're probably eating healthier than if you would, be going out. So just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there. And Owen has actually been in crypto for, I think, 4 years now. So I'll let Owen introduce himself the rest of the way. But thanks for being here, Owen. Appreciate you. Take it over.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Beth Ann. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Owen Fong. I completed Team 2 in November. I was also Bobby's coach some time ago. So we definitely had that relatedness going. And yeah, so my crypto journey began in 2017. At that time, I had been watching it already for probably a couple of years. I saw it go to 1,000 for the first time, and then it crashed all the way to the low hundreds. But yet I didn't buy it because I had a friend who lost everything when Mt. Gox, the major exchange at the time, was hacked. And so ever since then, I was like, oh, maybe it's too scary for me, But finally, I in 2017 realized, I think there's really something here. And I bought into Bitcoin for the first time at $3,000. And then when I started seeing how much momentum it had, I just threw my whole life savings into crypto, which I don't recommend everybody doing. That's definitely not advisable. But I just had that much confidence in it. And of course, within a span of a few months, I had explosive growth. I could probably have bought a Ferrari if I really wanted to. But then once the crash came, then I lost it all. I lost all the gains. I was just too confident that it would continue, And where we're at today, I thought we would have been at 2 years ago, but it just didn't continue that way. And I'm glad that we're here now, and I held throughout. And so now, again, I'm doing very, very well. But yeah, I'm happy to share, the highs and the lows and whatever experience that I can pass on to you guys.
Amazing. Thank you, Owen. I think we can go ahead and just have you start. I know you have a couple slides that you want to share, and you have a presentation. And if anybody has a question during his talk, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll also have, so Owen can answer questions, and then also at the end we'll have a little segment where we can answer more questions.
All right, awesome. So without further ado, let's talk. Let me do some screen sharing here.
And really quick, I just wanted to let everybody know that hasn't been here before, that we have a WhatsApp, and we also have a group email list. And if you'd like to be kept up to date on our happenings, our events, then go ahead and fill out this form or sign-in form, and I'll put it in the chat, or Beth Ann will put it in the chat. I think she just. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Right. Yeah, no worries. I'm hearing some feedback. Okay, there we go. So let's talk about decentralized finance, otherwise known as DeFi, and how you can earn interest and passive income with crypto. So does anybody know what DeFi is? Like, just a quick shout out.
Hey, Logan, I'm sorry. Just real quick, I want to let you know, we're going to go for timing wise. We'll go to about like 8:05, and then we'll go to like 8:15 for some questions.
Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Decentralized finance.
Yes. Thank you, Rodney. So what does that mean, though? I think in order to explain what DeFi is, let's first talk about what centralized finance is. So in a traditional financial system, everything's centralized. You have the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank, and they control the supply of money. They control the interest rates, and essentially they have all the power over the money, right? And then the banks lend or borrow money from the Federal Reserve, and then they lend that money to you. So it kind of slowly trickles out to you, right? In a decentralized financial system, there is no center, right? So nobody is no one entity or person is in control of the system. And so nobody's printing the money and nobody has 100% say in how it goes. So the interest rates are just kind of determined by how the market performs. And anybody can participate in it. You can go onto the decentralized finance system today and start lending money, earning interest, or you can borrow money. You don't have to apply for anything. You could just go on there and get money. Or there's so many applications that you can do, right? And it's all decentralized and it's very effective, okay? So any questions so far? All right, cool. So what are the pros and cons of DeFi? So the pros, number one is it's decentralized and it's transparent. So because everything operates on the blockchain, you can actually see all the transactions that have ever happened on the blockchain. I'm not going to go into the basics of crypto, but that's the basics of blockchain. It's a public ledger where all the transactions that have ever occurred are visible to everybody else. The second the second pro is that it's permissionless. And so, like I said, anybody can just go ahead and do this. You don't need permission from the bank to get a loan. You can just sign on and get a loan. You don't need permission to start an account. You don't need to maintain a minimum balance. None of that. It's all permissionless. 3, it's also trustless. And what does trustless mean? So in a centralized finance system, with the traditional bank, let's say, you have to trust the bank that they're not going to lose your money. So you deposit your money in there, that it's insured by the FDIC, yada, yada. So there's trust built into the system. With a DeFi system, there's no trust because it's actually already implied in the system. So it's trustless. There's no third party. There's no middleman. You don't have to trust anybody to be a part of it. That it's all kind of working as this web together, So that's why it's trustless. Number 4, no identity verification. So if you want to remain anonymous in this kind of system, you can. You don't have to, provide any. Hang on, sorry, my headphone just ran out of battery. Okay, well,
Still
you guys hear me just fine? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't need to provide your IDs and stuff. Like if you were to sign up for a bank account, or even some centralized exchanges right now, if you're buying something on Coinbase, you have to provide your ID and all these other stuff. But if you're on a decentralized exchange, then you don't have to provide any identity or verification, otherwise known as KYC, know your customer, right? So number 5, you control your wallet and the funds. So you're 100% in control of it. So, for example, if you're, again, going back to the centralized exchange example, you're trusting that this exchange is actually going to not lose your money and not lose your Bitcoin or whatever you have on the exchange, and that they have the security down. But with a decentralized exchange, actually, it's just an exchange that interfaces with your wallet. So your wallet is constantly in your control. You never leave your wallet unless you're making a trade. And so you're 100% in control of that and your funds. So number 6, there is a potential for high interest and yields, much higher than a traditional banking system would give you, right? So in a CD account, you're not even going to get 1%, right? But if you have stable coins, which are US dollar denominated coins that remain stable at $1 US. So if you, instead of holding cash, decided to hold stable coins and put it in the DeFi system, you could potentially safely earn up to 20% interest. And I'll try to show you guys how to do that later. So 20% versus less than 1%, you know, you tell me what's better. Now, for some of the cons of the DeFi system, sometimes there's going to be less liquidity, depending on what you're doing, on what exchange or, you know, whatnot. Sometimes there isn't quite as much liquidity, you know, like the stock market or like major exchanges, they have tons and tons of liquidity. So you're never really too worried that you won't be able to exit a trade or something like that, because you know that there's plenty of liquidity there. So if you need to sell your Bitcoins and go into cash, you know you can do that. Sometimes, depending on the type of coin, if it's lesser known or if there isn't as much of a market for it, you may or may not be able to move large quantities of money on that exchange. Maybe I'll go into that later, but that's a larger discussion. Number 2, security. So of course, with a traditional centralized banking system, you kind of have built trust over it because it's been secure. You know, you have the FDIC insuring it and all that. But with a DeFi system, security is like kind of hit or miss sometimes. You have to go with the ones that have really good reputations, and then you know like it's relatively secure. But of course, it's not ever 100%. There's always the risk of, you know, hacks or this or that. So one thing that you have to be mindful of is security, and you're in charge of your own wallet. So you need to know how to manage your passwords for that, because if you lose your passwords, then you could potentially lose your funds forever. So security is a big thing that you have to be aware of. Number 3, nothing's insured. There are actually a few services out there in the DeFi space that will offer insurance, but by default, it's not like the FDIC where, you know, your deposit is insured by the government up to 100,000 or 200,000, whatever it is. And so you don't have that kind of insurance when it comes to crypto, unless you specifically apply for it. And there are some services out there. Number 4, there's sometimes high fees during congestion. This is especially true for the Ethereum network, where most of DeFi lives. And so sometimes when the Ethereum network is congested, just to make one trade could cost you like over $100. And so you have to be mindful of those fees. There are solutions by going to different platforms. I particularly like the Binance Smart Chain platform, because the fees are like always like, you know, 50 cents or less. So it's much better over there. But if you're using Ethereum, where like most of the current DeFi projects are, you have to be mindful of sometimes that there's just going to be really high fees. And ETH 2.0 also is coming out to solve that, but you know, that's probably a year away. Anyway, number 5. So hacks and scams. I kind of went over this earlier, but you know, you have to really do your research when it comes to different projects, because some of them could be hacks or scams. And even some of the bigger projects I've seen have sometimes been hacked, and sometimes they'll cover it. And so that if they have enough funds in the system, they'll decide to just make everybody whole. Or I've even seen them reboot their whole blockchain and just like take a snapshot and be like, okay, we're going to fork this blockchain. Everybody who suffered from the hack, you're going to be made whole. You just need to wait until we reboot it. So there is that. I've seen that before, but that's not a guarantee. And of course, there's just a lot of scammers out there, so you really have to be careful. Number 6, there's no customer service. When it comes to DeFi, it's all like self-run, you know, so don't expect like a customer service representative to come help you if you lost your funds. It's not going to happen. You're completely responsible for everything. All right. Any questions about that?
And if anybody has questions, feel free to just go ahead and blurt it out. You don't have to raise your hand or anything.
Oh, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the hacks and scams. That seems like such a big section of like unknown of, I don't, you know, not even knowing what a hack and scam could be, and like where to watch out, how to watch out, what might be something to kind of like it's a con, but there's got to be something to kind of maybe slightly protect ourselves?
Yeah, so I mean, like the best thing that you can do is just make sure you never give away your password or your passphrases. Do do a lot of research into the projects that you go into to make sure that they built up a good reputation. Some of the biggest projects by like you don't reach like $10 billion or something without being reputable, right? So like if you reach a certain scale, you become more trustworthy by association, and so like it takes something to reach that level, I would say. And so, but still, nothing's a guarantee. Like maybe there's a hack out there that like an exploit that nobody's discovered yet, and then when it happens, like what are you gonna do, right? So it's always kind of there, and that's why you just need to diversify, make sure you don't have all your eggs in one basket when it comes to the DeFi space, so that if something goes down, then you're protected for that.
And then you said the word project. Is project interchangeable with different coins or different? Is that?
Yeah. So I like to refer to them as projects because sometimes they're not necessarily companies. Some of them are run by a company, but others are just like decentralized and open source. And so they're just a collective of people that are working on it. So I sometimes will just refer to them as projects. Yes.
And just to piggyback on what Bethan was asking, are the potential hacks or scams, are those, would that be when you're in a particular coin or token that you're buying, or would it be on a platform, or both?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So like when would a hack or scam happen? Would it happen on a platform, or would it happen with a coin that you bought?
So yeah, it can happen with both. So for example, one example of a scam is an exit scam. And so, you see this project and they're new and they're promising you like really outrageous returns, like maybe like 1,000% a year. And you're like, wow, that sounds awesome. Let me buy into this. But then the creators or development team, they created a backdoor for themselves so that all the funds that flow into the project, they could at some point what's called a rug pull. They could pull the rug from everybody who bought in and just pull out all the funds. And so that is an example of one of the major scams that can happen for a coin. And one of the major hacks that could happen for a platform is where, like I said, a hacker just discovers some kind of exploit, and then through that exploit takes out a bunch of money from the ecosystem. And then the project then has to figure a way to recover from that. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you, Owen.
So I'm paying attention to all this hacks and scams concerns, and that's a huge subject that concerns me about the entire cryptocurrency business, because everything we do is digital on the web. There's any avenue that a hacker can just interfere with any kind of transaction or get into your account, or things I can't even imagine. And they might have access to your account and channel it into theirs. Things that you would think aren't possible, but they probably are because it's decentralized. And especially for the concern that people don't have to ID themselves, they can be any anonymous activity person, avatar, and there's really high-tech ways that hackers work that you can't even trace them. I think the whole digital world is beyond my ability to even imagine some of the dangers, but there are some very technologically adept hackers in the world that could probably do things in the web anywhere if they wanted to. And that's what makes me cautious on my digital investments, never to put more than I would consider a high ticket gamble, like going to Vegas, except it's in the crypto world. And that if something should happen and I lose it all, it won't devastate me. So I definitely wouldn't put in my whole life savings into it. And I would be very careful about what organizations I sign up to do the transactions. One of my challenges where I just enrolled with Coinbase, something happened where they ID'd me, they got my ID and validated it. But when I needed to get in again, the system couldn't validate my same ID. And this was like 15, 30 minutes later, and I was obstructed from any transactions. And I thought I would hate for that to happen if I was in the middle of a, big transaction that I wanted to shift funds from Coinbase to Coinbase Pro or something. And then all of a sudden I'm frozen out of my system because their system wouldn't process something. And that's where we don't have any control, is the database that's holding our coins or our accounts or whatever. It's all in the hands of their system.
Right. And
these are my concerns.
Yeah. And so Coinbase is a centralized system. And so even though they're part of the crypto world, and, like crypto is all about decentralization, there are Coinbase is a public company now. They're centralized. There's a CEO, and whatever they want to do, they can do. But in a decentralized exchange, like I said, you're in control of it. You can decide to participate in the exchange or not, and all it does is interface with your wallet. So if you had Ethereum in your wallet and you wanted to trade it for something else on the exchange, then you could do that. And you don't have to worry about them verifying your ID. You don't have to worry about them locking your account because you didn't verify your ID or any of that. And then beyond that, you could also be a part of the exchange. So let's say you have tons of Ethereum and tons of stable coins such as Tether. And you decide, you know what, I want to earn some money off of this. So, Coinbase, every time the exchange happens on their platform, they pocket a percentage as a exchange fee, right? So every trading commission they make just goes directly into their pockets. If you're part of the DeFi system and you decided that you want to provide your own liquidity onto the market so that other people can make trades based on that, you could do that, and then you pocket all the exchange fees. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of different ways that you can participate in the system, and it's just all open source and open for everybody. So in a way, it abates some of those concerns that you had, but it also creates new concerns. So you kind of just have to weigh the pros and cons. And like I said, it's best to just be diversified. You don't want to have all your money in any one project in DeFi. And you also want to keep some of your money in exchanges, and you probably also want to keep some of your money stored away in a hardware wallet where you have to have a password on the wallet to open it. So that's how you kind of spread your risk, I would say.
We have about 15 more minutes if you want to, just for the slides and.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be moving on, and then if there's more questions later, we'll get back to that. So here are some examples of different things you can do in the DeFi space. You have payments. This is also a kind of an outdated chart, so some of these projects aren't as popular anymore. But so you have payment networks, you have custodial services, which are basically like wallets. You have infrastructure, things that kind of work in the background of exchanges and whatnot. You have exchanges and liquidity. So like I said, you can make trades just based on your wallet. And then you have also different kinds of investing platforms, different kinds of marketplaces, such as OpenSea for NFTs. You have derivatives. So if you wanted to create trades with more leverage, up to 100x leverage in some cases, you could do that purely decentralized as well. And then there's also their own systems that are KYC and identity platforms. They have over here stable coins, which, like I said, are the coins that are pegged to either a US dollar or to a euro or whatever regular currency. You have prediction markets, You have insurance, like I said, like if you wanted to sign up for that. And there's also lots of credit and lending platforms. So with that, now I can just go into different things.
So,
So like,
and this is all different ways that you can participate in this crypto space, is what you're saying. Like you
yes,
can lend, you can have insurance, there's stable coins, you can do payments, you could be involved in wallets. Like these are all different
yeah. So
categories.
these are all different categories. But today I just really wanted to focus on where you can earn interest and passive income potentially. So I'll show you some of that. Let me exit out of here. So where you can go to just check rates right now is there's a place called DeFiRate.com, and they have like a couple different platforms on here. And so, for example, if you had a USDT, which is tethered to the dollar, or USDC, which is also a US dollar coin, then you could earn, anywhere from, let's see, 3.6% is the lowest here, or 12% the highest over here, right? This is annually. And then Tether, you have, let's see, the lowest here, 6.67%, and the highest over here is 18%. Annually.
Owen, does that mean I park my money in one of these stable coins and I leave it there and I make interest?
So you would have to first exchange your dollars. Like, for example, on Coinbase, you can exchange dollar to dollar on USDC, right? And so if you have $10, then you can instantly exchange it for 10 USDC on Coinbase. Then you take those USDC and then you park it on one of these platforms. Like they have Aave over here, which is like one of the biggest ones. And actually, some of these are actually centralized companies. So BlockFi, Nexo, and Celsius are other platforms where you can lend your cryptos and also borrow. And so, for example, your Bitcoin, if you parked it on BlockFi, you can get 6%, or also 6% on Nexo. And on Celsius right now, it's 3.5%.
Is that for a year? Is that a year's time?
That's for a year. Yeah. Okay. So if your strategy is to hodl or buy and hold, then you might as well earn some interest on it. So if there's certain coins that you just want to hold forever, and I believe Bitcoin should be one of them, then absolutely, like you could put some on one of these platforms and earn some interest on it.
Do you have to commit to it? Is it do I have to stay there for a year, or can I pull it out if I want?
So certain platforms have different rules. When it comes to Ethereum, if you're going to just stake Ethereum, then they have a lockup for that. And it gets kind of complicated, but they have other platforms where you can also earn. And actually on Coinbase, they have a couple of coins that you can earn interest off of too. So see, like over here on this side, Coinbase, they'll give you some interest if you have DAI, USDC. What is that? Oh, that's one's Algorand. And I think that's it. And Tezos. And so kind of limited on what you get on Coinbase. On other exchanges, such as Binance, you could also earn interest just by what's called staking. I don't know if we have enough time for me to fully explain what staking means, but basically, like you have your coin and you stake it onto the network or a platform, and then they generate the interest for you and pay it out to you in that coin or whatever you choose sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it looks like if you scroll down, there's one that's like 42%. I thought I saw
there's a 52% over here. I mean, it can this one, You're in Finance, is at 42% at Bitfinex. So that's another exchange, Bitfinex. So like I said, some of these exchanges, they have lending programs because they need a liquidity for other people to make trades on their platform. So if you park some of your funds on their platform, then they're sometimes willing to pay you interest for that.
Is there a big risk with this?
I mean, it's varying levels of risk. If I had to rank some of these. You know, like obviously Coinbase is among the most trustworthy. I also think Celsius is one of the most trustworthy because I'm personally involved with them, and like they've survived the great crypto crashes, and like they haven't been hacked. So I think they're one of the best, and they have like one of the most assets under management, like over 10 billion right now. Nexo is also pretty good. I use them a little bit. BlockFi, I think they might have a relationship with Gemini. I forget, but they're also quite trustworthy. Aave is a decentralized lending platform that is also very trustworthy. They've been around maybe the longest compared, well, other than Compound, which is also pretty trustworthy. So yeah, those are ones that I can comfortably recommend. Other ones I might not have experience with them, so I can't say. Yeah, so if you wanted to go even further down the rabbit hole, you could go to CoinGecko, and there's something called yield farming. And so yield farming is where, like I said before, if you decided to provide liquidity to a decentralized exchange, usually you do that with a pair. So like if you had Ethereum and you paired it with USDT, Tether, you put equal parts of it onto the platform. And then every trade that is generated, you get a small slice of the exchange fees. And so ultimately, over time, that can build up to be a lot. And as you can see over here, some of them can go into like thousands of %. I don't recommend doing this as a beginner. You really have to kind of go further into what yield farming means. I could recommend a couple good YouTube videos for that. I simply don't have time to explain it right now. But if you really wanted to, you could do some yield farming. And also, so I just wanted to show you. So here on Uniswap, which is the largest decentralized exchange, you can also see the different pairs over here. So different token pairings can get you different interests. So for example, USDC and Ether will get you 42% a year. You know, you can get 42% on Uniswap. That's an estimate, by the way. It kind of fluctuates, but let's just call it about 40%. And then over here, if you wanted to do something like more conservative, then you could do USDC and USDT. So that's just $1 to $1. And then you can earn 14% annually over here on Uniswap. So that's just an example over there. But like I said, this is a decentralized exchange. And because it runs on Ethereum, the fees can become really high. So where I actually like to go is something called PancakeSwap. And when you go to PancakeSwap, hang on. Actually, I think we want to go to the exchange. So PancakeSwap. Let's go to the farms. So again, you can just look and see over here if you really wanted to get into yield farming and just check some of these yields. So this one is 76%. If you had Cake, that's the Pancake token and Binance token. And so if you did that as a pair, you can get 76%. Or if you wanted to stake on this platform, you could stake your Cake tokens for right now 96% annually. And I'm actually doing this with them. And so I'm able to generate like about 20,000 this year if at current prices. And yeah, so, but this is a little bit more risky and a little bit more advanced. So it's not really beginner friendly. It does have a learning curve to it, and you have to understand the risks as well. Any questions about that? Okay. So like I said, I really like Celsius, and this is.
We had Logan put in there syrup pools. I don't know if that means anything, or is that just, is it funny?
It's not a question. I appreciate it's pancakes. If you scroll up a little bit, it says syrup pools at the top for like staking.
Yeah,
They just leaned into the pun, and I'm just
yeah,
enjoying that. So that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, pancakes. Yeah, yeah. So, um, but yeah, so this is kind of like a cute interface that they did. So anyway, there's that. And another thing over here. So like I said, with Celsius, they're like a fully operational app. So you know you can download their app on your phone. You can deposit your crypto into them, and eventually they're also going to have exchange uses. So like you know you can swap and do different things. But here's just some of the rewards that they offer. And I think that they're very trustworthy and it's a lot more user friendly so that if you just wanted to park some money somewhere and get some interest, then you can. So these are just some of the rates that they offer. Some of them, you know, over 10% on some pretty good coins too.
Oh, and just
So-
I have a question. So are the fees, is the amount of the interest higher than the fees that these platforms charge?
So usually there's only fees when you first enter the like if you're depositing your funds onto one of these platforms, then it will incur a fee, right? So you have to pay the transfer fee in most cases. Celsius is actually really cool where if you withdraw, they'll cover those fees for you. So it's free withdrawals. So you only ever have to pay the deposit fees. So as long as you know your amount is gonna, like I said, sometimes Ethereum is just really expensive. So if you had $1,000 worth of Ethereum and then you wanted to transfer it onto Celsius and it's gonna cost you $100, then you already lost 10% right there. So it wouldn't be worth it, you know. So you kind of have to look and see what costs are there before you engage with it. And determine it that way. But yeah, the good thing about Celsius is that they will cover your withdrawal costs. So they're very cool about that.
We have about 5 more minutes.
Okay. So any other questions?
Oh, and I was just curious. So you were saying staking is more of an advanced thing. Did I understand that clearly, or can it be for beginners also?
So it depends on the platform, right? So Celsius is a very user-friendly platform. You know, all you do is deposit your funds and you automatically start earning interest, right? But with some of these other things like PancakeSwap, you got to know how to work with your wallet and interface with their system, and then all the ins and outs of that. I'm also seeing that Laura raised her hand.
Laura Magada?
Yes, hi. Oh my gosh. So this is my first conversation in the crypto world. So I mean, I have about 1 million questions, but I'll just start with one. First of all, this is so fascinating. So thank you for this contribution, Owen. I was curious. So I'm only really familiar with Bitcoin in the sense of like one Bitcoin is like, you know, so many thousands of dollars. With all these other options, and I'm honestly not even sure if what I'm saying is accurate, but with all these options, is there an option to just put down like $10 or 100 or something? Or is there like a minimum that you put down for cryptocurrency?
Right. So almost all cryptocurrencies are like divisible. So you could, you know, own a fraction of an Ethereum or Bitcoin, and then put it on one of these platforms. So it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but of course, like I said, you know, sometimes the fees will start to add up with the less money that you have on these platforms. So you just kind of have to weigh that out. The Binance Smart Chain platform is actually very cheap to operate on. So, you know, like they're always less than $1 per transaction. So that's a good place to, I mean, I wouldn't say start there, but like if you wanted to do the DeFi space, I like the Binance Smart Chain space more than Ethereum just because of the cost. The cost is like a fraction of what it is to transact on Ethereum.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
maybe time for one more question
Okay.
around maybe, so we're talking about decentralized financing. We're talking about taking money that we have, money that you have, and parking it somewhere for a period of time in what is this called? Like what's this term of, what's Pancake Swap called? What is it?
So this is actually an exchange. So they mainly operate as an exchange, but they also have like staking, and they have a couple different things going on.
Would you say that it's important to diversify within exchanges, or diversify just within different opportunities, projects?
I would say both. Yeah.
Both.
So if you're staking on a certain exchange, then I would say don't stake everything on there, and then maybe think about putting some of it, like for me personally, I have some money on Celsius, I have some money on Pancake, and I have some money in other exchanges such as KuCoin or Binance, right? And so definitely don't keep all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, sometimes the money won't even have to leave technically your accounts, because like with Aave, one of the big lending accounts, let me see if I can pull that up here. So if you go to Aave, and this is one of the major crypto DeFi lenders, so you can actually see what's going on here. There's 5 million deposited in their system, and people borrowed 4.36 million of it. All right. And so you can kind of see like what's going on with these markets, and like there's a total market size here of 100 million. And this is just for their AMM market. Let's click on this. There you go. So see, there's even more over here, 154 million versus 125 million borrowed. But anyway, if you deposited your funds on here in Aave, then you could, get these percentages back. And what they do to make sure that they know it's you is that they give you kind of like a placeholder. So if you put in USD coin, so USDC, they would give you a USDC. So that a new token is generated that shows that you had this many USDCs in their system, and then that stays in your wallet. So that in a way, it's like a placeholder.
Oh, and I want to thank you for really sharing a lot of your knowledge. You have such a depth of knowledge, and for you to kind of consolidate down such a big giant topic in such a edible way. You are a chef, so I could see why you could do that. But to do that for us is so amazing. It sounds like there's just this is another opportunity for us to put our money in and make money with, even if you really have to educate yourself. And do you have any suggestions of where people could go to, like, what's a good place to kind of go to get some more information on this?
Yeah, so YouTube's always great. There is this channel that will educate you on DeFi called Cinematics. Let me see if I can search them up right now. Cinematics. So this one. So this channel called Cinematics, they have these nice animations, and they'll explain DeFi in a digestible way. So for example, you could watch, let's see, like different platforms, they kind of review them and how they work. There's one here on yield farming that I would recommend if you wanted to do that. As well as, where was that? There was a DeFi, the Future of Finance Explained. This one would be really good. As well as the history of DeFi over here. This would also be very good to watch.
Really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really great, and we appreciate it so much. I don't know if you, so this is a great place for people to continue. Maybe we'll have you back to continue the conversation, and we can see where you've moved on from here. We'd love it if you came back. We thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Just thanks for your knowledge. So.
Yeah, thank you, Owen. And I know
Absolutely.
that I could probably speak for everyone here that you provided a lot of great information that a lot of us are totally intrigued to like go do smart investing here. And I would say that a lot of people they still need to like get their coins going, and then they'll, I took down a lot of notes on like where I'm going to park my money once I get it, So I know that I'm sure that everyone else is like, yeah, I'm going to get that 52% APY on whatever that platform was once I have those coins.
Yeah, and if you ever have any questions, like if you like see a project that has a ridiculous yield and you're not sure if it's like legit or not, like you're welcome to ask me about it. I am in the WhatsApp too, so you can post your questions there, and like I'll check it. So yeah,
we'll add everybody on the WhatsApp. If you're not on the WhatsApp, we'll add you. So thank you again, Owen. I'm going to move on to our next little segment. So this is an opportunity for all of us to be educated. We have another partner here. We have Logan Stone. He did speak for us a couple weeks ago, and he has a online live stream that he started, and he's going to tell you guys about and invite you to, where we can learn some more information. Logan, you want to share a little bit about what you got?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm excited to offer this. If I always have the experience every time I get on this call of like, there's so much new stuff happening in the cryptocurrency space that every time I jump on here, it's like my understanding of it grows, and it becomes much more manageable and easier to digest, and like the different compartments kind of like my understanding like meshes together in a new way, and I always appreciate that. And so what I want to offer everyone in this group is to continue the conversation. If you're interested in staying up to date with what the charts, how the different coins are operating and how everything's performing, I'm offering this. My team game in the world this quarter is this live stream where we talk about cryptocurrency in the morning. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The beginning part is we're talking about cryptocurrency and just kind of a general like relatedness thing, if anyone has any questions about stuff. And then we go into creating NFTs. And if you're, here, you know what? I'll post, the link is twitch.tv/Logan_makes. If you're interested, I invite you to go to that link, copy, paste it, and then hit the follow button. It'll notify you when we go live at 10 a.m. And then the NFT portion, I'll even post some in the WhatsApp thread, because I've been using audience suggestions to create these NFTs. So it's another different kind of, it's related to the cryptocurrency space there, but really like from beginning to end, I'm always available to talk about cryptocurrency. And like I've got like the art screen down low, and then I'm watching all the charts above. So we're like, literally I have them like they're minute charts, so I know what's going where. And it's another opportunity to stay in the conversation. And does anyone have any questions about that?
So Logan, that's Monday through Friday, 10 to 3?
That's actually every single day, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So we can log on at 10 a.m. and and see Logan at work. He'll talk about some crypto stuff, and then he'll start doing his NFT stuff. But basically, it's like a video radio channel, and you get to go in his world.
That's a great example.
You can ask lots of questions. You can ask questions there, right?
Yes.
You can chat with him. He'll chat back with you. So it's like, it's cool. I did it on his launch day, and it was really awesome.
Yeah.
So
Logan, if you like, we can
5 hours a day.
Say that again.
It's 5 hours a day.
It's 5 hours a day. I mean, I'm doing other work. Like I'm creating the NFTs, which is, to answer your question, yes, it's 5 hours a day. Yes. Building an audience.
But the beginning part of it will be a little bit more focused on crypto. Is that my understanding that correct?
Well, the first part of it is like devoted to cryptocurrency, and at any point anybody can ask the question regardless what I'm up to, and we can talk about, if you have a question about Bitcoin, if you have a question about did you just see the dip from Ethereum, should I sell, like, what's my it's staying part of the conversation, and it's not like, oh, we're not talking about crypto because it's 11:06, you know?
Got it. Got it.
And Logan is also an artist, so he is drawing some NFTs, and NFTs are digital pieces of art that are potentially for sale for whatever amount of money, depending on whoever will pay whatever for it. So,
I just posted, I invite everyone to go to your phone and go in the WhatsApp group. And I just posted 2 of them from the last 2 days. And they're audience generated. The next one I'm going to do is an emoji based one. I got people to post what was the last emoji that you used, and I invite you to check that out if you're interested. And so they're 3D rendered, and I have it that they're going to be worth 100K plus one point when the audience is there, and it's like, oh, I got an original. I got in on day one when they were worth when he sold them for $1. You know, so that's the future I'm living into, and I invite you to join the journey.
Thank you so much, Logan. We appreciate you participating in the collective and contributing to us all and our money magnetism. And speaking of contributing to our money magnetism, we're just about wrapping it up. We are producing this collective, and it's a team effort. And Bobby and I are currently looking for maybe actually a social media chair, somebody to kind of talk to us about how we can move our social media and take that to a level, because we just kind of, we're just putting it all together. And then we're also going to have a charity aspect of this that we're working on. Would love somebody who's interested in being the charity chair. And the opportunity for you is to not just do the part about a charity or the part about social media, but what happens is now you're like really diving into the conversation of this digital currency. You're doing it from something that you already know, which is to just be a person doing something in the world, but you're doing it for the collective, and you get to talk to all these amazing people like Owen and Logan and everybody in the group, and you're going to learn something that you wouldn't normally learn, and really just, it submerges you almost like, it just sets you up to learn more about this. If you're going to invest your money, you can invest a little bit of your time. If anybody is there anybody interested in just having a conversation about how you could participate in this collective?
And you can always reach out to us as well.
You can always reach out to us as well. I'm just kind of putting it out there.
I think I saw Diego, a hand. Was that just like a scratching your face, Diego, or is that a?
I mean, I'm always down to like learn more, and I mean, I think this is awesome, and I also have other people that could benefit a lot from it. So I think we could totally have a conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, and then if anybody else thinks about, our phone numbers are on the flyer. We're always going to send out a flyer. And if you know of anybody who could be a speaker for the group, if you want to contribute in that way, if you want to speak, if you know somebody who could speak that you want us to have a conversation with, please reach out to us. Your contribution somehow will give back to you. We really appreciate it. I want to honor that it's 8:31, and thank you all for coming. Bobby, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think you said it all. That was perfect, Beth Ann. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Owen, especially for leading this conversation. I got a lot of value out of this. And we'll see you all next week. And then before next week, we'll see you on Logan's Twitch. So thank you, Logan.
Thank you, Owen, Bobby, and Beth. Amazing call.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Be well, everyone.
Thanks, Bobby and Beth. This is fun.
Hey, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Rodney.